Life brings pain that we cannot avoid. Our natural reaction is often to overthink and become distressed by such suffering. As the Stoic philosopher and Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius knew, this not only compounds our misery, but prevents us from appreciating life's beauty. In his journal Meditations, Aurelius shares penetrating wisdom on how to maintain inner peace despite troubles. By training ourselves to differentiate what we control from what we don't, we gain tremendous freedom. We release anxious attachment over securing or avoiding things ultimately beyond our power. This does not imply total apathy towards hardship, but rather not exaggerating its influence over our state of mind. With such resilience, we remain level-headed amidst misfortune to respond thoughtfully. Marcus Aurelius invites us to journey towards emotional invulnerability to life's inevitable hurts. By learning to care less about what we cannot control, we become more present to use our free will virtuously. The teachings offer practical psychotherapy to fearlessly accept and find meaning in adversity. Lesson 1. The inevitability of suffering. Suffering is woven into the very fabric of human life. As mortal beings with complex minds and emotions, we intrinsically experience pain and hardships along the inevitable ups and downs of our existence. Indeed, none of us can fully escape distress, whether physical, mental, or emotional. For an immortal, trouble-free life lies beyond the conditions of the human domain. As Marcus Aurelius poignantly stated in Meditations, "Short then is the time we have to live. Small our portion of the world, small the corner of it we see." Yet suffering takes on heightened significance in our minds, precisely because we fail to fully accept it as inevitable. We falsely assume life will be perpetually harmonious and fulfilling if we can just arrange the right circumstances or avoid certain calamities. When hardships then arise, as they invariably do, we react with shock, anguish, and bewildered despair rather than tranquil resilience. The philosopher Seneca aptly described this tendency as humans suffering more often in imagination than in reality. We mentally crumble against hypothetical disasters more than when facing them with presence of mind. Stoic philosophy offers a powerful antidote to this self-imposed amplification of distress. It invites us to cultivate full awareness of life's impermanence and inseparability from adversity as a gateway to enduring emotional stability. By clearly distinguishing what depends upon our own will versus what does not, while narrowing our desires only to what lies within our control, we learn to accept and even derive growth from that which we cannot avoid. Calm equanimity amidst troubles then arises naturally. Let us explore how this life-changing shift of perspective and practice allows anyone to discover serenity within suffering storm. Lesson 2. The Stoic mindset, accepting what you cannot control. At the root of excessive distress over suffering lies a fundamental error of judgment. We assume external events themselves directly cause our internal turmoil. As Epictetus stated, it is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them. The Stoic mindset recognizes that while hardship itself is inevitable, the degree of inner anguish we experience remains within our power based on our perspective. By training ourselves to repeatedly distinguish what we control from what we do not, we gradually abandon destructive resistance to unavoidable realities of life. This subtle shift liberates tremendous energy we waste trying to secure impossible outcomes or fretting over preventing guaranteed adversity. Instead, we channel focus towards virtuous thoughts and actions aligned with reality's limitations, while allowing hardships to simply be rather than fighting fruitless battles. Equanimity amidst difficulty grows naturally from acknowledging our sphere of control, while calmly assenting to all else beyond our will. Lesson 3. Turning inwards, focusing on your own will and actions. The inward discipline of attention lies at the heart of Stoicism's remedy for emotional disruption. When external troubles arise, we often obsessively turn focus outwards, desperately analyzing options to escape distress. This not only proves futile against unavoidable suffering, but overlooks our greatest power, continuous mastery over our own judgments and choices. By repeatedly bringing focus back to our internal realm of reasoned thought and ethical action aligned with facts, the otherwise overwhelming chaos of external troubles loses binding grip over our state of mind. Clarity arises to respond thoughtfully instead of reactively. We regain agency over shaping the character and wisdom through which we navigate all of life's inevitable ups and downs. Lesson 4. Cultivating equanimity, evening out the highs and lows. Equanimity of mind amidst fluctuating conditions allows us to maintain inner freedom regardless of external hardship. The Stoics understood that while pleasure and pain are both ultimately fleeting, our judgments of events as absolutely good or bad gives them outsized influence over inner turmoil or joy. By consciously moderating reactive highs and lows through a balanced perspective focused on moral choices, we remain even-keeled across the variable terrain of life. Think of hardship as training to build emotional stamina and presence, just as athletes strengthen physical poise against external contact. Repeated practice, maintaining composure in difficulties, grows the power of will and wisdom to sustain it. Each trial thus holds an opportunity to advance human excellence through self-mastery. All of life's eventualities become fuel for the fire of moral purpose, none with absolute power to shake inner foundations resting on virtue's bedrock. Lesson 5. Differentiating external events and your internal experience. The path to mental resilience begins by clearly distinguishing external events themselves from the subjective experience of those events in our minds. As Epictetus said, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control and some things are not. External circumstances from health to reputation often lie outside direct control, but our judgments, responses, and quality of inner life in facing them remain sovereign domain. By training rigorous honesty to admit the inherent lack of control over externals, we avoid wasted energy trying to perfectly orchestrate a world that refuses submission. Instead, we focus on integrity of moment-to-moment thoughts, embracing all that arises with radical responsibility. Hardships become meaningful stimuli, revealing areas for inner work rather than senseless disruptions to resist. Lesson 6. Training your judgment to see things objectively. Our judgments add meaning to bare facts, powerfully shaping emotional experience. Stoicism trains examination of underlying beliefs, tracing reactive feelings back to value-laden interpretations we project onto events. For example, losing a job seems catastrophic only when clinging to thoughts like, "I must be successful to have worth." By repeatedly questioning the veracity of stories woven around facts, we gradually untangle truth from mental fictions falsely assumed as real. With refined judgment, we view situations objectively without internal meaning overlay. Difficulties retain pragmatic significance, but lose supreme emotional command. Each moment's occurring simply is what it is, stripped of imagined existential weight. Natural tranquility emerges from seeing things as they are, not as biases wish them to be. Lesson 7. Limiting desires to what is within your power. The Stoic sage defines personal fortune as solely what lies within will's command, finding riches in mastery of mind and ethics beyond external fluctuation. By tempering infinite appetites to merely what is attainable through reasoned choice, peace follows even amidst material lack or physical affliction. We abandon misplaced hopes in securing the unattainable, instead channeling such drive towards excellence of inner character and contribution to human brotherhood. Let invincible contentment amidst hardship be sculpted from restraining desire's vain excess, curtail needless wants, and redirect such energy towards moral action. Thereby, no outcome holds power to shake foundations of joy and purpose streaming from virtue's overflowing wellspring within. Where control ends, freedom begins. Lesson 8. Finding meaning and purpose in hardship. The Stoic view transforms adversity from meaningless disruption into opportunity for actualizing purpose. Difficulties provide a privileged occasion to live values of courage, justice, compassion. Where hardship breaks the illusion of control, supreme human dignity shines in how we relate to uncontrolled events themselves. Each trial thus offers a testing ground for greatness, where we deepen self-mastery and manifest virtue's radiance. Seen in this light, external troubles lose defined form as interruptive blows against happiness. They blend into the canvas of existence itself, with colors revealing beauty and meaning based on our chosen brushstrokes in response. Any event that arises simply is what it is, a pure collision of causal factors temporally converged. The space around reaction becomes consecrated ground to sculpt the soul and contribute to our common humanity. Lesson 9. Maintaining mental resilience through self-discipline. Mastery over judgments requires lifelong repetitive practice training, the mind's eye inward. Stoic self-discipline exercises concentration against the habit of seeking consolation externally when adversity strikes. Instead, we steadily recondition the default tendency to cower in distress, patiently strengthening emotional immunity through regular meditation, negative visualization, plain living, and other austere practices. The flourishing inner citadel of tranquility amidst chaos takes shape. Resilience builds against irrational fears of hypothetical disasters as we confront the inevitable with eyes of wisdom learned from such trained envisioning. Caring less about hardship, this proves a supremely active process of self-command through rigor and patience. Lesson 10. Tranquility through letting go of excessive caring. The crowning achievement of Stoic practice is releasing the burden of constant anxiety over securing health, wealth, reputation, all which remain ultimately beyond control. This non-resistance and non-attachment allows events to simply unfold according to their nature with equanimity and poised action in any circumstance. We conserve energies wasted inversion, fretting over contingencies, instead pouring passion where agency lies, our judgment and will towards virtue. Calm, displaced, anguished, grasping at the unattainable, peace emerges not despite adversity, but precisely within the eye of understanding how little external troubles can touch the sacred inner sanctuary of wisdom if we refuse servitude to transient hopes and fears. Though storms will always come, none last forever. What anchors the soul persists forevermore. Life brings painful adversity we cannot avoid, yet as Marcus Aurelius' enduring wisdom reminds us, finding tranquility and purpose despite hardship lies within our power if we train wisdom of perspective. By learning to care less about external troubles beyond our control through disciplined habits of mind, we become more present and caring towards each opportunity for virtuous choice and action before us. Stoicism's timeless principles serve as profound tools to fearlessly accept and transform suffering rather than be its passive victim. Aurelius invites us to journey towards emotional invincibility by distinguishing what we can control from what we cannot. Therein lies freedom and the path to discover inner peace and purpose regardless of circumstances. By caring less for life's inevitable hurts, we care more fully for what ultimately matters most: our character, contributions, and legacy of meaning left behind.